Welcome to Galion Rock and Roar, your go-to podcast highlighting people making a difference right here in Galion, Ohio. Today, we're excited to welcome Amber Wertman, who was just recently named Executive Director of the North Central State College Foundation. Amber brings many strengths to this new role. More than 20 years of nonprofit and community leadership, a track record of strategic fundraising and stakeholder engagement, and a strong commitment to mission-driven results. The experience she brings to that role are the same qualities that will benefit our community as she steps into a new volunteer role as president of the board of directors of Galion Main Street. With a fresh perspective and a strong commitment to community growth, she is ready to help shape the future of Uptown Galion and support the people, businesses, and partnerships that make it thrive. Amber, thank you for making a difference in our community and for being here today on Galion Rock and Roar.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate that kind intro and happy to be here talking about all things Main Street.
Great, Amber. Let's just get started then. What are some things that you'd like us to know about you? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Wow. Okay. Well, I agree with everything in the intro. So all those things, right? Mostly beyond my education and experience, I am very passionate about building community, about preservation, and just really bringing people together around shared goals. I think it's possible through things like collective impact. My most recent position was with United Way of North Central Ohio, and United Way is an organization throughout the nation that's big on collective impact and community and figuring out how to collaborate while also having some performance measures around that to get to action steps. And I've been able to apply that to all the things I'm a part of to the extent that I can. And I think that in talking with the board of Galion Main Street, we're very interested in setting some goals and getting to action steps. And that takes time because it is a community organization. We're all volunteers, but I think there's definitely a new energy and a willingness to get to that and to enhance that.
What can you tell us about a National Main Street program, its objectives, and how that relates to Uptown Galion?
Well, I appreciate the question first because I've been involved with Main Street nationally just on the fringes of it, in the sense that when you're in community work, you hear about these things, you hear about Main Street initiatives. Here in Ohio, it's called Heritage Ohio. So our state association that's under the National Main Street umbrella is Heritage Ohio. So I'm saying thank you for the question, because I think the first thing I want people to understand is it's also not just a buzzword. It's an actual organization. It's been around, I believe, since 1980. They have proven successes. Specifically here in Ohio, there are many communities who have been part of Main Street via Heritage Ohio for years, and they've seen progress. And they've seen, depending on the community, every community is different, but they've seen ways where they've used the model or the framework, if you will, of the National Main Street. And so the second thing, besides just letting the listeners know, it's not just something we made up here in Galion. It's not just, oh, we love Uptown, and so we do love Uptown, obviously, but there are national and state organizations behind this work. And so really, Galion just has an opportunity to jump on that bandwagon and see how we can benefit from work that's already being done across our state and nation. So that's the first thing I would say. Please, I encourage people to just search National Main Street Organization, search Heritage Ohio, check out their websites. They have videos. It's great content, and there's lots of people involved. So that would be the first thing, just educating everyone about, this is a thing, and Galion has an opportunity to be a part of it and see what we can create for ourselves. Because even if you're a part of the organization, it doesn't mean that you have to do exactly what they say. We have our own board, we have our own bylaws, and we're going to do what works for Galion, but we have we now have the ability to tap into all the structures, all their experiences that the challenges they've already faced. There's workshops, there's all kinds of neat things that we now have the ability to tap into. So that's first. To answer the rest of the question, based on 4 main points. So there's a 4-point approach to the Main Street model. First is organization. So the organization focuses on building strong leadership. It focuses on the volunteers, definitely funding. Sometimes it takes money, right? It takes resources. In some instances, you can do things at low cost or no cost, and we do try to do that as much as possible. But at the end of the day, there's some big things we want to work on. And so organization really tries to keep the bylaws situated. Think of it as the backbone, if you will. That organization committee is the backbone of Galion Main Street, and keeping things moving and reminders and agendas and work plans. We have a work plan that we make sure that comes to the board when we want to make decisions on what we're going to do moving forward. So that's organization. Next is design. That's enhancing visual appeal, the character of the buildings, which sometimes could be historic preservation, but I want to be clear, not all the time. That can be character of buildings in other ways as well. And then just public spaces. So it's really the visual of, there's a lot of good content around this, is mentally people gravitate to, we like to have beauty around us and nice things, and not that it always has to be new and shiny, but if some place has a new coat of paint or a new sign up or a new public space that looks inviting, people gravitate to that generally. And so that's what design is looking at. So it doesn't have to be like necessarily marketing design. It's not that. It's more of the general appeal of things and visuals and spaces, creating vibrant spaces that people want to be a part of. One is promotion. Now that's more of your marketing, your not only your marketing materials, but marketing of the uptown, of its assets, attractions for customers, not only local customers, but visitors. There is an element to Main Street that is definitely paired well with tourism, whatever that looks like in our community or other communities. It usually is found 9 times out of 10 in tandem with each other somehow. And so, yes, we want our local people to love our place and to love what's here. We also want to appeal to outside people to come visit. It helps economically, which leads me to our 4th point of Main Street is economic vitality. This is supporting and attracting businesses while fostering investment. This one is one that we absolutely have to have partners on. So big on partnership. I think many of these things, we can't do it alone. It's too big. There's a lot to it. So we are happy and fortunate to have the city of Galion on a representative on our Main Street board, which currently is Mayor Satterfield. And we've been just so happy to have him and his support discussions around what we do. We work very, very closely. We want to be in communication with him and the city and make sure that we're all moving in the same direction. And we certainly recognize that a lot of these decisions and maybe first steps on big projects come through the city, and we want to be good partners in that way, and they do too. So that's been very nice. The other partner that's at the table that I think is very important, especially with this committee, is the Crawford County Partnership. So McKenna, she's the new director there, new-ish. I guess I don't know if we can call her new anymore. She is a representative on Main Street. Her or one of her staff are always at the meetings to make sure that, we talk about attracting businesses. That's something that the partnership does for communities all throughout the county. And so we certainly want to be an organization that is an asset to her and her team that helps to tell the story. Why should your business come here? If you have a small business idea and you're an entrepreneur and you're thinking about coming to Galion, or you've been eyeing a building that you want to buy and restore and make it a storefront, we want you to have all the tools possible. And so the partnership and their team really are a vital part of that. Oh, yes. And I don't want to forget the Chamber of Commerce. Of course, when you talk about businesses, you have to talk about the Chamber. A lot of our uptown businesses are already members of the Chamber. So Jessica, the assistant director, she serves on our board as well. They've been very supportive with sponsoring certain promotions. Most recently, seemingly small thing, but we've been taking care of the large planters on the square. And we wanted to do some signs for not only America 250 and the July 4th holiday, but signs we can change out throughout the year in different seasons. And they were gracious enough to be a sponsor of those signs. We were able to get them at low cost, and then it was covered by the Chamber. So there's pieces of that, right, too, that when the small business is up and running and the partnership's done their job, and the Chamber comes in and they can become members and continue to be plugged in. Again, all goes back to the collaboration. We're all working on it together. We all might have small pieces, seemingly small pieces, but every part creates the whole, and it just makes a difference. Those are the 4 points: organization, design, promotion, and economic vitality. And there are so many partners, I couldn't name them all, but just touching on a few. We have county commissioner representation. There's just a lot of people. We have small business owners on our board, which is very important for their representation. So it's just, I think we're starting to have the right foundation and the right structure. And I'm realistically optimistic as we move forward that we have the right people working together on these committees. From what we've heard from other communities, and again, going back to the framework, at the end of the day, it is people working together. We all want the same thing, but how do we get there? That's what we're figuring out, hopefully.
Since accepting the role of board president, how do you believe Galion's Main Street program is progressing?
To be clear, I do think it has been a slow road. I think it's been slow going. I would first say that our Galion Main Street efforts began even, I think it was 3 years ago. A group of citizens got together and said, hey, this model works. We want to see Uptown thrive. What should we do to start getting this going again? Because I understand there's been Main Street efforts in the past, which is great. So it wasn't totally brand new, but definitely something new in recent years that was formed. And I'm glad it was, because those first 3 years we worked with Heritage Ohio. They come in and do what's called a DART study, where they walk through your uptown with fresh eyes. They give you a bit of a SWOT analysis, the strengths, the weaknesses, opportunities, and then they come back and present that to you. They have a community session, which we held a few years ago at the Galion Theater. We had a great turnout for that, and so it was good to get public feedback through surveys and other just face-to-face interview type questions about Uptown specifically and how our Main Street program would work specifically here in Galion. And so I think those first 3 years of just being on the board, I was really learning more. I was learning more about Main Street and also what it could be for Galion. And in those first 3 years, we also did a lot of tours. I feel like it was a lot of education for all of us. We went and visited other communities like Tiffin, like Ashland, like Defiance, Marion, a few other places who all have been doing the Main Street model to one extent or another. And those were great opportunities to talk to their Main Street boards, their committees and volunteers about what worked for them, what didn't work. We got to visually see some of the design work they did, marketing and promotions they did. And so I would say that first 3 years was just kind of figuring out what would this look like and what did we really want it to be? More importantly, what did the business owners and citizens want it to be? What did they want to experience when they come to Uptown Galion? And so I think while I say it was moving slow, I think those first 3 years were really important. We also were learning how to work together as a group. Some people have come and gone from the board since then, but I think every time was a learning experience. what people took away and what they wanted to see. And so all that was good. So all that to say, I want to make sure everybody knew it's not something it's been around, and I recognize that progress was slow at first, but I think it almost had to be because we've never done it. And when we did do it, it was, I think my understanding was it was 15, 20 years ago. A lot has changed. So I guess currently, board president, happy to serve. I do chair the organization committee, which in this model makes sense because I just want to make sure everybody's rowing in the same direction, as they say. And I think I'm most impressed with the dedication of our board members and volunteers that we do have, are learning the model and believe in it. I think that we have a good momentum right now of some real positive things that we maybe didn't necessarily have before. I think there's a sense with the board that the partnerships have always been there, but I think it's like the right people in the right place in the right time, right? There is some alignment to all of this. And so I think the momentum and energy comes from having the right partnerships and the right people. And we do have some things, there were some things we did in the past. We've done cash mobs. We've helped with Come Home to Galion. We've set up at other places. And we were doing that before. But I think now what I'm excited about in how we're progressing is that we're doing it with a bit more purpose now and a little more focus and enthusiasm. There's more structure to the committees. There have been people step up to chair the committees. So I guess this is a good plug, and another hope of mine is just continuing to recruit more volunteers. This is a community collaborative type of thing, and so there are definitely tasks and things to be done, action steps that need to be taken, even something as small as Carrie's on the board. She set up a watering schedule for the plants at the square, and it was so well received. So people are looking for volunteer opportunities that they can do on their own time, and they're still participating, and that's went over really well. And so, yeah, I think my hope, how it's progressing, is slow and steady, but I think that's good. I think that people can find their place in it. It's not like we're rushing along. We're just going to do some of these, again, seemingly small things, but they're happening. And if we didn't do it, who would, right? You want to step up and do the little things. And so perhaps somebody would fill that gap. But I like to think that Main Street is the right organization with the right people to come in alongside other things, other businesses. We want to see them successful. I'd love to see more business engagement as we move forward. I think we're starting to get that. We have plans of doing some marketing campaigns that will benefit the local uptown businesses, and signage. We've talked about wayfinding signs, and that's certainly something we would work with the city on because there are permits and things like that. But we talked about small pop-up events. So we have a lot of things that I think we're on track to achieve this time around, and I'm excited about that.
People have said, or you have said, slow and steady wins the race.
Yes.
And learning, as you've mentioned, and getting just acclimated to a new program.
Yeah.
And so let's take a look then, and you may have already answered that, but let's move into we're halfway through 2026. What are your goals, or the organization's goals? How do you want to finish out 2026?
First of all, I think a lot of organizations and people, we don't take enough time to celebrate what we've already accomplished in 26. And I would say those things are updating and approving new bylaws, codes of conduct, a lot of these things that people say, oh, that's boring. I don't want to do all the paperwork. But you know what? That's a foundation of your organization. And we felt like it was important. And we took the time to get a lot of those needed things done. They're in place and ready to go and refreshed. I wanted to celebrate that first. I'm excited about that goal that we've really achieved, because that was really the first one, is just strengthening the organizational foundation. I kind of mentioned this, but I think secondly, some quick wins. So beautification projects like the flowers, like possibly talking about signage or cleanup days. We've done some cleanup days already, and we have plans for other cleanup projects, great opportunities for people to volunteer. We'd love to see in the future some initiatives for storefront enhancement, whether that's just cleaning, washing windows, or if it's a little more in depth, working with the business owner to see how we can enhance storefronts. I think it all makes a difference visually, which is good. We want to do fun promotional events too, especially ones that support local business. This is where, again, going back to the partnership with the chamber, is where that comes in handy, is the chamber can help us promote those things. And we're talking about doing a pop-up kind of like arts and crafts type market where that's going to hopefully bring people uptown. And the overflow of that, in hope and theory, is that then they'll visit the other businesses while they're uptown. And so we do have plans for that. I can't officially announce anything yet, but it's in the works. And so happy that that's a goal and we're moving towards that. And then I think probably a fourth goal would be to continue down this road of laying groundwork for economic vitality, whether that's just engagement of business owners, identifying more partnership opportunities. We want to make sure that the community input reflects what Galion residents and the business owners most want. And that is a passion of mine. I think a lot of time in this community work, we often think we know what everybody else needs. Well, they should do that, or you should do this. But did we ever ask them? So I'm very big on, I think that's why the slow and steady theory works better, is because you do have to take the time to ask them, well, what do you think? What do you need? We think it should be this, but as a business owner, they have a totally different perspective oftentimes. And so it's coming to consensus around what that progress looks like. And I think we can get there, but it's having the continuous communication and conversations. And so that's one of the goals, is just getting especially the business owners more engaged, in the sense that, we want to be a good partner to you. So what do you need to be successful?
Great. And we know everybody wants to be heard.
Yeah.
And you just
do.
mentioned
That's
collaboration.
True. Yep.
And working together for the good of our uptown.
Yes.
Let's talk about money.
Ooh,
money always,
my favorite topic.
Money always seems to be an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a challenge for Main Street? And if so, how do you propose to tackle it?
Okay. Yes, it is a challenge. I like to remind people that it's not just us. There are many small nonprofits, really even some mid-size, depending on the grant situation, even larger ones, who struggle with money, especially today in the economy the way it is. There's been some cuts made in certain buckets or another, whether it be state or nationally. And when that happens, the flow of money maybe isn't as freely as it once was. There's a lot of reasons. I could do a whole podcast just about that. But yes, Galion Main Street, there's some things we want to do that would require funds. So we have a very, very small budget. Some would argue basically non-existent. However, I do think we have goals to start addressing some of that. We are going to do some grant writing. Like I said, I think every organization, especially in our small rural areas, there's an awful lot of need and not enough resources. And so we like to diversify our funding as much as possible. What that means to me, anyway, is that we go after some grants, and we go after some sponsorships, and we go after perhaps some individual donors or small, we've been fortunate to get some small sponsorships from local clubs or organizations like that. And so that takes time in the fundraising world. it's often said you need to be consistent and persistent about fundraising, and I think that's true. And so to answer that, yes, it's a concern. I believe that's normal, especially when you're really starting out and trying to ramp up and kind of, educating yourself first, getting the foundation built, and now what comes next. And it's typically fundraising to get to the goal. And so I think we'll start out with grant writing so we can get some traction, I guess, get some seed money under the organization and start to grow more fundraising efforts, whether it's through, like I said, sponsorships, supporting members. I mean, I don't want to call it a membership because there's some main streets that do membership fees and things like that. I'm not sure that that's the direction our Main Street program will go, but I do think been talking with Jessica at the chamber about some additional collaboration around that. I think that there's opportunity for tourism dollars. I do think that Main Street, now it's just the uptown Galion portion, and I understand there's lots to market regarding tourism in the whole town. But I would say that a portion of tourism is certainly in uptown, whether it be people going to the theater or even the History Center is really in the map of the uptown district. Those two places bring in events. We have new things that'll be happening at the depot. And so that combined with restaurants and little shops or antiquing people, that's a tourism thing. And so I'm hoping that might be one day a portion of our diversification of funds. So grants, tourism opportunity dollars, sponsorships, and potentially down the road some membership collaboration, whether that be through the chamber or other means. We're going to figure that out. That was a long answer to say, yes, we need money. So if anybody out there sounds good to them and they want to, I was going to say write a check, or we can find a way for you to deposit electronically into our account if you'd like. So,
well, I just have to note that as a former director of the United Way, you're very accustomed to fundraising,
yeah,
and definitely have an expertise in the area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fundraising is hard, and I kind of feel like anybody who, you sit so someone with my background in development, resource development, fundraising, major gifts, whatever you want to call it. Sometimes you sit in meetings, people say, oh, we'll just go get grants. Oh, we'll just go ask XYZ company, or so-and-so is a millionaire, go ask them. And it's like, that makes it sound real easy. And in reality, I would think my colleagues in development would say, yeah, that's not how it works. It takes a lot more time and effort. You're not going to get every grant. Funders look for different things. They want to fund certain projects. Businesses have a certain budget, and everyone's asking them. And so when it's gone, it's gone, and you wait till next year. Sometimes with individuals, they also have passions around what they want to fund, as they should. It's just building the relationships, having good conversations, being honest and transparent. I think in a world where our lives are very full and it's fast-paced, we often get impatient. We want an instant windfall of money, and that's just usually not how it works out. Every once in a while, or I'm in a meeting where they say, just ask Mackenzie Scott, and it's like, oh, geez, I just rolled my eyes again. But yeah, in some cases, that happens, right? Taylor and Travis just got married and gave out, $56 million to multiple different organizations. Well, that's great. Some of them, it is a windfall, but that's a very small percentage. That's the kind of stuff that's like you have a 2% chance of that happening. That doesn't mean you don't try. It is very much a profession and a niche thing, and definitely relationship building, but also finding the right people, and is this what they want to give their money to? Again, that's a whole nother podcast. So I'm going way too long because I love this stuff and I could talk about it all day, but.
Okay, to use
Sorry.
your words, that's okay. I love hearing it. To use your words, you're being realistic, optimistic,
Yes.
yet realistic.
Yes.
I like that term.
We always say, you know what? It's worth a try. It's always worth a try, but being realistic in your efforts. And again, I think with fundraising, if anybody's with an organization and trying to tackle fundraising, just being consistent and persistent and knowing your big supporters, knowing the ones who love your mission. And that's what we want to find.
And good luck.
Thank you.
And if anybody can find him, my money's on you.
Well, we'll see. I hope so. I hope so. And yeah, you know what? I do want to say too, there's an awful lot that happens before you ask someone for money, and then an awful lot that happens after you've secured a donor. And it's not just one person can do it. So when you're on a board, I think you do have to understand, I do trainings with board governance, and oftentimes, especially if it's a small nonprofit board, you might not be the one directly making the ask, but when you even share your relationships and talk about the organization with your circle of people, if you don't want to ask, but you say, hey, Amber, I know so-and-so, and they're very interested. They really love the Main Street mission. Great. I'll go talk to them. Or the appropriate person goes and talks to them. And so, again, just a little nugget. You don't have to be the one asking, but sharing your circle and the people you think that would support is just as important. It's part of the process.
Yes, and it is difficult for some people to ask that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think that's right up there with public speaking, right? You don't want to... Money's such a... you're always... Don't talk about politics, religion. You could probably tack on what people make. You're not supposed to talk about that. You're not supposed to talk about money. And so whether that's right or wrong, I think it's something kind of ingrained in us.
We're going to close down this topic.
Okay.
But my final question to you is, what are the takeaways that you hope our listeners gain today?
Well, thank you again for having me. I think talking this out with you has given me some new ideas and renewal in our efforts. So thanks for that. I think my takeaways would be, number one, educate yourself. If you heard anything today or you saw something posted about Galion Main Street and you just want to know about the Main Street model, please go check out Main Street America, check out Heritage Ohio. Again, they have great resources. I think just even if you're not ready to participate yet and you're just kind of sitting back and watching, what are they going to do? Because a lot of times you have to prove yourself to people, and I get that. But in the meantime, while you're waiting to see what we're doing, definitely do some research. Go visit other communities near us that have used the Main Street model, and I would say that you will see the difference. You'll see what they're doing, and it's pretty, in most of those communities, it's pretty apparent. The revitalization, the beautification, the vibrancy that the events that they're trying to bring to their downtowns or uptowns, education. Just go experience it, go check it out, and think of the possibilities for Galion. Because if other places can do it, so can we,
Absolutely.
Who's to say we can't? So, yeah, number one, education. Number two, I just encourage people to be part of the conversation. What that looks like is our board meetings are open to anybody who wants to come, good, bad, indifferent, checking it out. Just want to sit back and listen, or you have ideas. It's a collaborative thing, so we want to hear feedback. And we meet currently the fourth Wednesday of every month at noon. And I know it's over lunchtime. It's hard for some people. We're exploring the option of doing something virtual, where if you want to listen in, reach out to any of the board members or our social media. I mean, you could call the chamber. There's ways to reach us. If you want to be a part, but there's a barrier because you're at work or you can't get there, we don't want that to stop you. And so we can definitely try to make virtual options. But anyway, our board meetings, the fourth Wednesday of every month at Carrie's venue, Uptown, Galion. one of the local businesses. She's kindly, generously given us the space to use. And so stop in and see us. There's also committee meetings that you can attend. Now, those times and locations vary, but best way to find out about that at this moment is probably our Facebook page. So Galion Main Street on Facebook, you can search it. We try our best, again, small but mighty team, we try our best to post announcements about when those are happening, and we'll continue to try to do that. We do hope to have a landing page of sorts very soon, some type of, I'm not going to say a full website, but just a website with a couple pages even that just has our calendar of events, but also the committees and how you can get involved. That's something I would like to talk about, goal accomplishment. I'd like to get that done at least by the end of this calendar year. Yeah, education, engagement. Please attend any of our board meetings, any committee meetings. Thirdly, I would say whether it's with Main Street or with something else uptown, find a way to get plugged in. The only way things actually change is by us as individuals taking action steps to create the change we want to see. Stop and pick up some trash or water some plants or pull weeds, or even it's just shopping in a local business. If you haven't been uptown yet, stop into some of our merchants. Like, they want to see you. Challenge yourself to spend $20 once a month. I think those are all things, takeaways, small things people can do now to make some impact. And so, yeah, I think education, engagement, and then just volunteering, whatever that looks like to you. Those would be the takeaways.
Amber, thank you so much for being with Rock and Roar today.
Rock and Roar, I love it.
And that is music to my ears, because your last point is people really can make a difference.
Yeah.
One person can make a difference by doing one small thing.
Yes.
That's what it's all about.
And just taking an action step.
Okay. Thank you so much for being with us. We might have to do that again.
Me. Yeah, for sure.
Yes. I think you probably have more to share.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.